Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Excellence in the Workplace as presented by the Rotary Club of Merrimack. I want to thank my committee first, Joyce Jobin, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, and Maureen Mooney, they've both been a big help in putting this whole event together. Hi, Maureen.
Ready to be the photographer.
Okay. I want to introduce our Master of Ceremonies guest speaker, who's Jeffrey Rose. Some of you may know Jeff from his days at BAE Systems, but he's also been chairman of the Greater Nashua Chamber of Commerce, Red Cross, served with me on the board of directors of St. Joe's Community Services, which is the local Meals on Wheels provider. He's a great community servant. Right now, he is the Commissioner of the Department of Resources and Economic Development. As such, he oversees 4 divisions: Forests and Lands, Parks and Recreation, Tourism, and Economic Development. And that's partly why we're here today, economic development. One of the things that the Commissioner does is puts forward New Hampshire's best face to those people and businesses that are considering relocating and expanding in New Hampshire. And he'll tell us more about that later. But one of the things that you brag about in New Hampshire is the great workforce. And that's why we're here today to honor all of the people that have been nominated as performing in an exemplary manner in their particular occupation. So without any more, I'm going to just turn it over to Jeff.
Thanks, Chris. It's really a pleasure to be here. But you forgot one really important detail on my resume, which may actually not have been in there. But I'm also a fellow Macker. So I grew up here in Merrimack. I went to school right around the corner at Mastrocola Elementary School, and the middle school, and the high school. It was kind of fun driving in this morning. I didn't see, Levi Lowell's isn't there anymore, or Zyla's isn't there anymore. I still remember, and I like to joke with when I was at BAE, that I remember when that was a drive-in movie theater before BAE Systems was there. So I do have a little bit of street cred when it comes to being here in Merrimack, and it's great to be here. The other thing I wanted to do is compliment Andy on his tie. I thought it's a really smart-looking tie, and you look great this morning. So I wanted to make sure I got that out of the way here as well. It really is. It is a lot of fun to be here this morning, and I appreciate Chris's introduction, but also the invitation to join you here this morning. And I've known Chris now for quite some time, and I know he does a first-rate job in many different capacities here in the town. But first and foremost, he's a great human being that cares an awful lot about his community, and he wears it on his sleeve. So thank you, Chris, for everything you do and for your work and your invitation here this morning. I really do. I have probably the coolest job in the state, which is kind of fun to be able to say. Chris kind of alluded to it in the sense that I get the opportunity to what I believe. You put all the greatest and best attributes of the state of New Hampshire, you put it under one roof, and then you get the privilege, really, of going to lead that organization, and that's the Department of Resources and Economic Development. Sometimes people refer to it as DREAD, which to me sounds horrible. So I almost rarely say DREAD. I always say Department of Resources and Economic Development, particularly because we do have so many exciting things that we offer within the division, and then to call it DREAD just seems a little bit off pace to me. But then again, to be the commissioner of it sounds even worse, right? But it really is a fantastic agency that I have the pleasure of leading. We do, and I'll talk a little bit more about economic development in a second. But just think about it. In New Hampshire, we put our parks and recreation. I know there's some parks and recs folks here this morning. Our travel and tourism, our forest and lands, and economic development all under one roof. And there's a reason for that, and that's because I believe those 4 things help yield out the quality of life and the positive experience and connotation I think we all have about living in New Hampshire. So it's very, very unique. We're the only state that does it like that, and so I really can say I my job is one of a kind, and I really thoroughly enjoy it, and I really I smile back thinking about my days growing up in Merrimack and the experiences that I had here, whether it was playing down at the MYA or going to the schools here, or my folks still. Well, actually, they don't still have a place here, but just the time that we spent here. He was a digital guy, so it was fun to enjoy that experience. But I always smile back thinking my Merrimack days, and in fact, my closest friends today are still all my friends from not high school but elementary school. So it's kind of a fun experience. Within the division, there's 4 different divisions within the Department of Resources and Economic Development. So we have our Parks and Rec that I referenced. We have 92 different properties that we manage on behalf of the state. That includes our parks, our historic sites, our snowmobile trails. We have about 1,000 miles, or 7,000 miles of snowmobile trails, 1,000 miles of ATV trails. We do manage our waysides as well. And that's a totally self-funded division that we have within the agency. We do the travel and tourism on behalf of the state, which is hopefully you've seen a little bit of that platform, the Live Free And campaign, which I think really tries to help celebrate some of the unique characteristics that we have within the state, bringing in people and visitors and guests. We have about 35 million people that come to the state every single year, supports about 66,000 jobs and about $4.5 billion of economic activity. We also manage the welcome centers at a lot of the different rest areas and stuff. So I never anticipated caring about porta potties like I do now with this job, but nonetheless, you never know what's going to come at you, I guess. So, and then we have within our Forest and Lands division, we manage about 450,000 acres of either direct land or conservation easements that the state owns. We also manage all the fire suppression in our forests, and believe it or not, we're actually getting ready to start worrying about forest fire season. We have firefighters within our groups, the forest rangers, as well as working with a lot of communities on urban forestry matters as well, and managing invasive species and such. So, but then we have our economic development, and that kind of brings us here a little bit back to what we're celebrating today. And as Chris referenced, when you think about excellence in the workplace, that's really where things kind of first and foremost start. I was being interviewed yesterday by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and they wanted to talk about taxes, and I said, that's great. I'm always happy to talk about taxes, and I think the unique characteristics and the advantages that we have from our structure of government and our tax structure. But I said, first and foremost, it's the workforce. It's the skilled workforce that we have, and it's always great to be able to celebrate that and recognize that, like we're doing here this morning. And that's the first question any business has when they're looking at where they're going to locate their business or if they're going to expand their business is what's the skilled labor, what's the skilled workforce. And fortunately, one of the reasons why New Hampshire has consistently been such an attractive state for business is because we have that skilled workforce. So congratulations to everybody here that's being recognized today. But that is such an important component of it. But there are other elements, as I was referencing. I think our tax structure is very distinctive, particularly when you start looking around our neighboring states. I think sometimes make us even look better than we are when it comes to our taxes and our very unique structure of government, in the sense that we have the 3rd largest legislative body in the world in the state of New Hampshire. But what that does is it creates a very high level of accountability and responsibility and accessibility. And so you can get a commissioner of an agency, or you can get your state representatives or your local school board and planning board. So there's a lot of, I think, accountability and engagement here amongst the people in the state of New Hampshire that I think serves us very well. But within our division of economic development, we have a couple of different compartments that we focus on. We focus a lot on job retention, working with the businesses that are here in the state. Job recruitment, trying to bring businesses into the state or expand the businesses that are here. We have something that we call our Procurement Technical Assistance Team program, our PTAP team, which helps businesses work with basically public sector entities that are looking to contract, whether that's at the federal level, the state level, or the local level. We run our International Trade Resource Center, so trying to help grow New Hampshire businesses and exports to different markets and helping them sort of navigate the rules of the road when you start working in different foreign countries. We also have what we call our broadband deployment department division that sort of helps make sure that we're deploying broadband throughout the state, and then we have a marketing component within that division as well. And we've worked quite a bit here in Merrimack. I mean, all right, granted, I'm from Merrimack, I might be slightly biased, but Merrimack really is one of the real drivers of our state's economy. I mean, we have fantastic businesses here, BAE Systems, Fidelity, Elbit Systems, Anheuser-Busch. I mean, we have a lot of really good staple companies that have been here for, well, at least 40 years. So, and some of them are far longer than that. But our agency, Department of Resource and Economic Development, has worked with many companies here in the state. One of the other things that we do is we provide job training grants through our Office of Workforce Opportunity, and we've provided direct grants to about half a dozen companies here in Merrimack, whether that's Nanocomp or Pennachuck Waterworks, Nashua Corp, trying to help them make sure that their labor, their workers have the skills that are necessary to help meet their needs. We've trained up over 1,000 workers through our job training programs here. We provide something that's called the ER zone, the economic revitalization zones, which are a tax credit program that the town will apply to the agency, and then we administer a tax credit on behalf of the community, and trying to incentivize businesses to locate and make investments into the infrastructure to create jobs, and we've created over 50 jobs here in Merrimack through that program. We've worked within our recruitment division, trying to bring companies here to Merrimack. We don't necessarily steer one town to another, but we try to help fit the profile and what they're looking for. Burst Point Networks is an example of a company that we recently brought here to Merrimack and worked very closely with. We're doing a lot of work within our international trade group on promoting New Hampshire as a hub for activity when it comes to aerospace and defense. And we have what we call our New Hampshire Aerospace Defense Export Consortium, and we have a few different companies here in Merrimack that are participating in that. But one, transport, we've taken actually to a couple of international trade shows, the Paris Air Show, and I think there was maybe one other, maybe Singapore was another example of a Merrimack company that we've been taking on the road and showcasing some of their work. We're working very closely with Nanocomp right now on their major expansion project, and working closely with GT Advanced Technologies and some of the efforts and things that they're looking at doing here. So there's a lot of exciting things that are taking place within Merrimack that I like to think our division is intimately involved with and trying to help be successful. And then I'm sure my travel and tourism director would slap me on the wrist if I didn't reference the premium outlet malls as well, and the partnership we have working with them, and whether it's trying to get signs up on the highway or trying to help do some promotional work with them. That's been a great partnership as well. So it's great. I'm serious when I say I think Merrimack is probably as strong as community as there is in the state when it comes to the diversity of the types of jobs, and obviously that then means the types of talent that you have. So it's great to be here to celebrate that. The last thing I'll just touch on briefly before we get to the real focus of today is just a couple of different priorities that we are working on within the Division of Economic Development that I think are very relevant to excellence in the workplace. One is just trying to do a little bit more from a marketing perspective and talking to people about what a fantastic state it is. I referenced a little bit about our travel and tourism platform, the Live Free And campaign that we're doing for a lot of our recruitment of people to come and visit the state. Well, trying to leverage that now from a economic development perspective. One, because there's far more resources in our budget within travel and tourism than economic development, but I think it works very well. Live free and start, live free and do business, live free and connect. We've actually just started an ad campaign. It's relatively modest in its nature. I'd say probably about 2/3 of it's focused, we'll say, in our immediate surrounding neighbors, states, so you may not see as much of it, but it's a concerted effort that we're making now to try to expand our brand, as well as, hey, look, you don't just have to have a great time playing up in the Lakes region or the White Mountains or the Great North Woods. You can live here and run a business and work here as well. So we're really trying to leverage that. One of the examples of that would be what we're doing up in Hooksett right now with the new Welcome Center in the rest area redevelopment project there. I think that's going to be revolutionary when it comes to seeing what the state can provide for services, and that public-private partnership is going to be one of a kind for our state. So we're really excited about that, and that's just one example of how we're trying to do a better job of leveraging our tourism resources and successes and trying to capture that a little bit more within the economic development umbrella. Another one that I will mention is a lot of the businesses that we've been talking with do, while we have a great workforce today, do look consistently about what's the workforce going to be for tomorrow and making sure that we have the skilled resources and workers to meet those needs moving forward and some of the expansion plans. And there seems to be a little bit of a misalignment, perhaps, with that right now in terms of making sure that those who are coming into the workforce have the skills that are necessary for the business community. So we're working very closely with the community college system in particular on trying to make sure that we do a better job of alignment of those skills. And we have a few different things, in fact, working with some companies here in the greater Merrimack, Nashua area right now on some pilot projects to try to better align some of those opportunities that exist. And then the last one that I'll just mention briefly is our international trade group, which I'm really proud of. Last year we were the fastest growing state for our exports of any state in the country. Our exports grew about 24% last year, which is really fantastic. We're off to a good start through Q1. We're still up in about that 22 to 24%, and we're continuing to make great efforts to expand the markets by which we bring New Hampshire businesses, and working with Governor Hassan will be leading a trade mission over to Turkey actually in a couple of weeks. When bringing about a dozen or so New Hampshire companies as we continue to try to grow the different markets that we bring New Hampshire's businesses to. So there's a lot to do moving forward, but again, it all kind of starts again at with the skilled labor and the excellence in the workforce. So it's why it's really a pleasure to be here with you this morning and to celebrate some great successes and some great people here. So with that, I'd like to perhaps maybe pivot a little bit and to get into to the real thrust of our morning and recognizing some of this great talent that we have in the room. And so if you wouldn't mind, just I'll read the name of the honoree and the sponsor. If you wouldn't mind just coming forward, and I'll read through a little bit of the description as to why we're recognizing this individual. First, we'd like to recognize Neil Enketel, and who is sponsored by Rick Crawford. During the course of 2013, I'm going to read it from the perspective of the individual who made the nomination. So if I say I, please forgive me. During the course of 2013, I needed to use Neil's plumbing skills on several different projects, from planned bathroom remodels to emergency hot water heater leaks and frozen pipes. He's always responded to emergencies immediately, and all of them taking place in the evening. Neil never complains, conducts himself in a professional manner, and always has the customer satisfaction first in his mind. In addition, he worked tirelessly, volunteering to work with the Rotary Club's Infrastructure Committee for Independence Day. Neil's 3 days of work on with the 4th of July Family Fun Day in 100-degree heat was nothing short of invaluable. Neil's generosity also shines through when he provided and delivered 2 loads of wood to an elderly customer of ours who suffered a heart attack last year, helping to provide him with heat for this past winter. Neil, congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we're going to recognize Pamela Bernstein, who is being sponsored by Maureen Mooney. Pamela has been at Thomas More College for 31 years, and during that time has consistently demonstrated dedication and excellence towards her job of bookkeeping. Over that time, her duties have expanded at the college to include assisting students with financial aid, transcripts, preparing grades, and other important duties essential to the operations of an undergraduate college. Pamela always performs with a smile and pleasantry for all those she encounters. Pamela is truly the glue that keeps the office operations together. Pamela, congratulations. Sure.
Perfect, thank you. Sure, yeah. Pam, want me to take a picture? One more shot.
Should we break up the ties? Is it too much?
Yeah, just push that side. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
I'm good on this one. Next, we're going to recognize John Burrun and Mark Condry, please, being sponsored by Bob Freed.
Unfortunately, John is not here. He was slated to be here. I'm not sure why, but
Well, we appreciate what they do at Sal's Pizza. They're a great pillar of the community. So.
Go ahead and read them.
Oh, okay. I'll still read it then. Partners John and Mark, owners of Sal's Pizza, exhibit community service spirit that aligns well with the Rotary's ideals. They employ local Merrimack students. They are always sure to work around the students' schedules, both for school, sports, tests, etc., making sure that students can excel in other areas besides the workplace. If not for their flexibility, many students would not be able to hold down a high school job. In addition, Sal has been a steady supporter and sponsor of the Rotary's Turkey Trot. In addition, Sal supplies pizzas at many school events, such as boys and girls basketball, at deeply discounted prices, which allows booster clubs to raise the funds necessary to support the team's equipment and operational needs. So we'd like to appreciate and recognize their great work. Next, we'd like to honor Cynthia Detton, and oh, great, she is unable to join us, but she does a great job at the bakery at Shaw's. So, very nice write-up, being sponsored by Carolyn Blake. We are now going to recognize Coach Goodrich, please, who is being sponsored by Peter Flood. I didn't have the pleasure of playing under Coach Goodrich, but I did have 4 years at Merrimack under the class of '91. For several years now, Tim Goodrich has been the coach of our high school basketball team, in addition to running his own well-respected painting company here in Merrimack. It takes a lot of hard work and skill to start a small company, build up by satisfied customers, and sustain it through the years by consistently and dependable excellence. But to be a consistent and successful coach of a large group of wild and crazy young men,
I don't think they're that bad.
I don't know who comes up with this stuff. With adrenaline flowing and heroic ambitions bursting through the skills, further skills that many people may not be able to possess. Tim has shown he has the skill set in spades and quietly, firmly, and wisely exercise them to coax his players to perform at such a much higher level of excellence. This gift to these boys is bound to carry them into their future and give them each the confidence to perform with a higher level of excellence in any endeavor they decide to undertake. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Yeah. Good to see you again today. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I wish I had my red tie too. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Next, we'd like to recognize Terry McGrew, who is being sponsored by Maria Bourne. This is also a fun one because I had the pleasure of working with St. Joe's Community Services on the Meals on Wheels program, so I can speak to how important this is. St. Joe's Community Services provides Meals on Wheels, community dining, transportation, and supporting services throughout Hillsborough County. In her role at St. Joe's Community Service Assistant Program Manager, Terry performs many duties, one of which is the recruitment and retention of volunteers for the agency. Since Terry took on this responsibility less than 2 years ago, coverage at the Meals on Wheels routes by volunteers has increased from 38 to 56%. Terry is outgoing, friendly, and professional. She encourages each new volunteer to find the place that is most suited for their interests, skills, and schedule. She invests time and energy into ensuring that each volunteer has a full grasp of the responsibilities of that position and encourages them in the joy of volunteering. Each volunteer knows that he or she is making a difference in the lives of the elderly or disabled adults. A successful volunteer program is vital to our ability to meet the needs for Meals on Wheels in our other programs. The 42,000 hours donated by volunteers last year saved our agency nearly $500,000. Terry's efforts helped St. Joe's Community Service to continue to provide quality service in the midst of the ongoing budgetary challenges. Terry is a team player who represents St. Joe's Community Service with excellence in all her endeavors and is truly deserving of this recognition. Terry, congratulations. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you to the Rotary.
Next, we'd like to recognize Deborah Pelletier, who is being sponsored by Deborah Robinson.
Pelletier's not able to.
Yes, you can come up. We had a special request on this for her to come up.
Okay, yeah.
I told the agency I would accept this on her behalf and then go back and fuss over her.
Yeah. Sounds good. Well, this is under that no good deed goes unpunished,
Right,
right?
so
you
I
have
get
to,
to listen to you read my
you have to come.
nomination.
So, Deborah Pelletier is the bereavement coordinator at the Home Health and Hospice Care. She was my nominee for recognition of excellence in the workplace. I have volunteered for Deb at Home Health, and again, in the voice of the individual who made the nomination. I have volunteered for Deb at Home Health and Hospice for 9 years and can tell you firsthand that in addition to being an amazing person, she provides a very valuable service to our community in the form of bereavement support. Deb is responsible for overseeing groups that support adults who have lost parents, spouses who have lost their partners, and children and teenagers who have lost adults or friends they love. Each person who inquires about bereavement support receives Deb's individual attention and is provided an appropriate level of service for their needs. She also runs monthly educational sessions for bereaved people and is often the first step people will take when receiving supportive services regarding their loss. During these sessions, called Journey Through Grief, Deb gently approaches topics that are very difficult, making it okay for people to be vulnerable and reach out for help. I enjoy very much working with Deb in my volunteer capacity and find her to be very kind, generous, and thoughtful. She is very deserving of this award. Let's hear it for Deb. We are now going to recognize Scott Mortimer, please, who is being sponsored by Maureen Mooney. Scott is the Merrimack Rotary's volunteer webmaster for both the 4th of July and the Turkey Trot. Scott has shown exceptional volunteerism in his efficiency, promptness, and attentiveness in creating and maintaining the Merrimack 4th website and the Merrimack Turkey Trot website, the club's Facebook fan page, and Twitter account. These sites were developed from scratch and require considerable maintenance and updating as the date of these events approaches. This means close coordination with the committees, the rapid turnaround for new information, and Scott has been outstanding in this regard. Social media is key for getting the word out about Merrimack Rotary events. Scott's dedication to public relations and publicity have been instrumental for the club's success to carry out its mission of service in the community. Scott, thanks for all you do.
Take one more. Congratulations, Scott. That's great.
All set.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Next, we're going to honor Greg Robinson, who is being sponsored by Jerry Heatley, please.
Unfortunately, Jerry couldn't be here today.
Oh, we're glad you're here, Greg. So.
Yeah, he's in California.
With this letter, I am nominating Greg Robinson for the Rotary Club's Excellence in the Workplace Award. I have had the pleasure of working with Greg at Thorac Corporation for over 16 years, from his functional manager for most of that time. From the start, Greg offered suggestions to improve efficiencies and technologies. Based largely on his suggestions, we have moved forward to more efficient databases that resulted in faster analysis. Greg's programming skills are largely due to his self-motivation and interests. He quickly eclipsed other programmers on my team and was recognized by everyone in the clinical affairs team as the go-to person to get a database built. I recently promoted Greg to senior programmer. In this new role, Greg will be responsible for project management. In short, Greg has been a rock star employee for Thorak Corporation. In addition, Greg volunteers his skills and time to the Alley Foundation, a nonprofit aimed at ending sexual violence. Greg, congratulations.
Very nice, thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks. Congratulations, Greg. And we would like to recognize Kelly Veluzzi, please, with Laura Janes as her sponsor. Kelly Veluzzi has been the Secretary of Parks and Recreation Department for the past 5 years. She has consistently been the backbone staff member at the department. Her enthusiasm and positive attitude is evident in all that she does. She has a vast, unsung variety of responsibilities, including helping to coordinate activities between the Parks and Recreation Committee, the DPW, and a variety of community groups. She assists the DPW director, the Parks and Recreation director, in coordinating all the seasonal events and programs, such as bus trips, the Haunted Walk, Holiday Party, the Winter Carnival, and the concert series. Last June, when the Parks and Recreation Director Sherry Kalish retired, Kelly took on the role of acting director and was responsible for managing Natticook Day Camp programs, summer concert series, Halloween party, and the holiday parade while the town conducted a search for the new Parks and Rec director. Kelly is a capable and caring go-to person. The Parks and Recreation Department is lucky to have an employee as dedicated as Kelly Veluzzi.
Chris, want to get in? All right, and 1, 2. Nice, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, we have one more presentation that Andy's going to take care of.
Jeff, the Rotary Club of Merrimack is deeply appreciative of your services in helping present our Excellent in Workplace program today. Through the Vocational Avenue of Service, the Rotary recognizes the value of every occupation. The goodwill and professionalism exhibited by Jeffrey Rose as a Master of Ceremonies reflects well on all concerned.
Oh.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks. I'm not sure about the professionalism part, but I appreciate that. It's very kind. Thank you very much. It's been great.
Two of you can come out
Yeah.
behind the podium so Maureen can take a picture.
Okay, great.
Very good, thank you.
Thanks.
And thank you all for coming. That concludes our program for today. Have a great day.